whatever it says. First, we're going to translate it left, down, and then we're going to go 90 degrees rotation. So plot your point. Yes. On your EOC, they are not going to show all of the transformations. They would only give you the original and the final image. So when you're doing this, you can put just the original and the final. That would be fine, especially on the back side. If you put all three, that's also okay, because we're doing notes. I'm going to put all three. So I have the original, and then I'm going to show the first transformation, and then I'm going to show the final transformation. So here's my original. The first thing we're going to do is translate to the left 7, down 3. This is nice and easy. So you're literally just going to count to the left. Shh, and then you're going to go down. For the rule for this, does anybody know how I would write the rule? Perfect. So translating is easy peasy. It's left, right, up, down. So take a second, move your trapezoid. You can either use the rule to find the coordinate points or literally count 7 and 3. What? No, it's fine. You should put the first. Just on your picture, make sure you put the prime thing. Okay. After we translate it to the left and down, then we're going to have a second transformation that we have to follow. The next one says that it is, what's up? Oh, okay, hold on. So this one says it's a rotation of 90 degrees counterclockwise. When in doubt, go counterclockwise. If it doesn't say a direction, go counterclockwise, okay? So in this case, it's 90 degrees counterclockwise. What would be the rule that I have to use for 90 degrees counterclockwise? Negative YX. So I'm not using the original coordinate points. I'm using the coordinate points I just made, and I'm going to now flip them and then change the sign in the front. So people were finally getting the hang of this yesterday, I feel like. If I flip it first, this is 3, -3, and then think the front, because it's negative, I'm changing the sign. If it was already -3, now it would be positive. In this case, it's positive, so now I'm going to add in a little negative. For X, X was changed to -5, 3. So X double prime is going to be 3, -5, and then I'm going to put the symbol in the front. I'm going to make it negative. Y double prime was -6, 1. I'm flipping it to make 1, -6. And then I have to change the sign in the front. Z double prime is 1, -2. Change the sign in the front. It's positive. Now it's negative. So because it's going 90 degrees counterclockwise, right now this red trapezoid is what I'm using. Since it's going 90 degrees counterclockwise, it should move 1 quadrant to the left. So it's actually going to go underneath itself, and it should look like it's turning. It's spinning because it's spinning around 0, 0. Since it was over here, now it's going boop, boop, boop. 90 degrees. 90 degrees means one rotation, one quadrant change. So on the EOC, it might cover up like this one. This one would not be shown, and you would basically have to pick what kind of transformations were being done. So it would have to be multiple choice. So they would say like translating and then rotation. So it would be shifted and then rotated because it's spinning. For number 2, it's a triangle. This one's a little funky. The picture is going to look a little weird. So take a second, plot your original A, B, C coordinate points. And then we're going to go in order with the transformations. So the first transformation is, it says that we are reflecting over the line x equals -5. So does anybody know how I'm going to plot this line? Straight up and down. It's going to be vertical. So if I go on the x-axis to -5 and I put a point, if you think about it, it should make sense. I'm not going to put it on top of the x-axis because then they would have literally said the x-axis. I have to put it through. So it's a vertical line at x equals -5. And then for reflections over a number, you do not have a rule. You literally have to count. So there's literally no rule that you can use. No rule. You literally have to count from the right to the left how much you're going. So if A was, I don't know, how many to the right is A from the line of reflection? 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so 4 to the right. So now instead of going to the right, I'm going from the line of reflection 4 to the left. There's no rule. So normally there's a rule that we can follow. Because this says a specific number, x equals -5, you literally have to count. There's no rule to follow. The only thing you can do is count to the left, count to the right. Count to the left, count to the right. Yeah, like, do you want me to put that up here? X equals -5. I don't want you to say like all the x values have to be -5. Like they don't. No, they do not. So C was 1 to the left. So now C prime is going to be from the line of reflection 1 to the right. It's going to literally fall on top of itself. It's going to look crazy because the original line of reflection is going through the picture to start. B is 1 to the right. So now B is going to be 1 to the left. Yes. Then I'm going to take my new picture and I have to rotate it 180 degrees. Why does it not say counterclockwise or clockwise? Because it literally doesn't matter. Okay. 180 is going to have the same rule no matter what direction it goes. So sometimes with 180, they're not going to put a direction because it literally does not matter. What's my rule for 180 degrees? Minus. So I'm not changing the coordinate point. I'm not flipping the coordinate point. All I'm doing is changing the sign. Once again, I'm not using the original. I'm using the ones I just made. So if A prime was -9, +2, what's it going to be now? 9, -2. So if it's positive, now it's negative, negative, now it's positive. B was -6, -3. So what's B double prime going to be now? 6-3. You're so smart. And then C double prime is going to be 1. Smart. Genius. Look at you. And then we're going to plot our points. So it should look like it's rotating 180 degrees. 180 degrees is technically 2 quadrants. So B is right here. So B is going to end up 2 quadrants away. 1, 2. A and C are in this quadrant. So they're moving 2 quadrants as well. 1, 2. So C will end up here. I mean, B will end up here. And then A and C will end up somewhere over here. So it's going to be on top of that line. So B was the lowest point. Now it's the highest. A and C were the highest. Now they're the lowest because when you're spinning, it's going to change the direction of the triangle. Okay, last one we're doing together. Take a second, plot your original points. This one's also a triangle. Does anybody remember what the line y equals negative x looks like?
Oh, yeah.
No.
It's like this way.
Yeah. So we're going to start high. We're going to end low because it has a negative slope. Remember, it should pass through 0, 0. So my line of reflection is y equals negative x. So it's starting high, ending low. It's a negative slope. It's going all the way across through 0, 0. So this triangle is actually going to end up across that line. For the rule y equals negative x, what that does is it's going to flip it and it's making both negative. Hopefully, oh crap, I put it equal sign.
You're allowed to have like the thing that says on like who's gonna.
So the catch is whenever you're the idea is that you're not necessarily remembering the rules. Hopefully you're remembering the rules, but if you're not remembering the rules, it shouldn't be that big of a deal because you should be able to recognize what's actually happening based on the pre-image and then the image. So you should be able to tell me if they give you like these kind of pictures, what actually happened. Was it a reflection? Was it a rotation? If you could remember the rules, that would be ideal. That would be great. Most of you are not going to be able to remember that though. For this one, I have negative y, negative x. So if J was 5, 3, what is it going to be now? -3, -5, because I'm flipping it and I'm switching the sign. So they were positive, now they're negative. Okay, oh, I forgot my prime. K prime was 5, 1. If I flip it and switch the sign, what's that going to be? Nice. And then L prime, same thing. I'm going to flip it, switch the sign. What's that going to be? -3, -1. So take a second, plot your points. Make sure you put your primes. So that's my first thing. That's my first reflection. Now I'm going to change it again. Now I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees counterclockwise. So we're going to the left. How many quadrants is that going to move if it's 90? 1 quadrant. So counterclockwise is to the left. So this is my new image. I'm going to change it again. The idea is I'm going 90 degrees counterclockwise, 1 quadrant. So it's down here. So if I go to the left, it's technically going over here. So it should end up somewhere down here. If it's 90 degrees counterclockwise, what's my rule? There you go. Negative y(x). So people were confused with this last period because we flipped it and they're like, do we flip it again? I don't understand. So these are your new coordinates. Pretend like these are your original coordinate points. We're going to flip it again and then change the sign in the front. So if I have -3, -5, we're going to flip it. And then you change the sign in the front. So 5 was negative. Now it's positive because a negative and a negative are going to make positive. K prime was -1, -5. So I'm going to flip it. And then I'm changing only the sign in the front, the new front. So what's my coordinate point? Mm. 5, -1. You forgot to flip it. L prime was -3, -1. So I'm going to flip it and I'm switching only the front. So what's that going to be? Perfect. 1, -3. So it should end up down here because your first number is positive, your second number is negative, which makes sense because it's a 90-degree rotation and you're going to the left, which people are like, we're going to the right, but it's spinning. So that's why. So that's your final image. The problems on the back, you have to go in order. If it says to reflect it first, you need to reflect it. If it says to rotate it first, you need to rotate it first. Whatever order it says is the order that you are doing them in.